It was like a hustling job. I took the job because I worked there when I was in high school as well. In different phases and one day no one else
And we're on.
01:04 a.m.
It is. It's 1:04, and it's fucking hot. It's really hot.
It is hot.
Yeah. Can we swear on this
Yeah.
podcast?
Yeah, like
can say
fuck.
Fuck.
Yeah, sure.
Fuck. Okay. Well, we I like to say the word a lot. Woo. It's a beautiful start to our
Yeah.
podcast. Dude's riding his motorcycle at 1:04 midnight. How you doing, man?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. I don't know. Okay, I'd say. You know, not great, but a bit okay.
Good enough.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about the first episode of our
We talked about
podcast?
it yesterday, I think. Now
Good.
tonight we are starting it. That's good.
Yeah, I actually wasn't expecting to start so early. You know, I thought because sometimes we talk about projects and then it just, it stays there for a
A few
while.
months later.
Oh yeah, like the fourth episode of our project.
Yeah.
It's been
2 years, 3
my
years.
goodness. Oh my goodness, has it been 3 years?
Yeah, I think. The first episode was released 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Before pandemic.
Oh yeah, it was before the pandemic.
Pandemic.
It was before the we started the pandemic basically.
Yeah.
we
The third episode started the pandemic. The first and second part, we had some problem in Iran.
Right. Wait, what was the first? Was this first episode? The first episode when we did it, something happened in Iran. Do you remember what it was? Something.
I
bad
can
happened.
remember the second one. Soleimani died
And
in
the
Iran.
was it the flight also? It was the flight,
I
and
think,
then Soleimani
yeah,
died.
I think the first episode was before the flight.
Oh,
and
the first
second
episode
one
was the flood. Remember? Like, I think it was like a series of floods happened in the south of Iran,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
And an earthquake.
and
I
also
thi-
we had the
or
flight
just a flood.
also, and then for the second episode, we had Soleimani,
Yeah.
and the third pandemic started. That's why we are scared of fourth episode. Third
Probably.
World War.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, we basically started working on the fourth episode, and then the war broke out, the
Yeah,
Russia-Ukraine
Russia, yeah.
war. I mean, I at some point, it started turning into this weird thing. I was like joking about it, but now, I mean, holy shit! Like every time,
I'm scared of ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I mean, whatever. I don't care.
I don't care.
What do you think about the war? How
Which
do you
one?
All right, that's a good question. No, like about the Ukraine, and I think I have to keep holding my face in front of the microphone so everything is clear. You hear me well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When you heard the war was about to start, what did you think?
I know that he's been preparing everything for this war for a long time, but I don't know, maybe because of Trump, it didn't start it.
Mm-hmm.
But then, when Trump wasn't selected again, then he started the war. I have no idea about the history, what is the problem, and blah blah. But it's normal. I mean, on Earth, we have these kind of problems every now and then.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you know what? A couple of days ago, I was talking to you about this student we have, because
Paulina, yeah.
we both teach, and she went through an unfortunate series of events, and she lost her parents and her brothers, I think, and she mentioned that she lost them in a war. I think there was another one earlier. It wasn't like a war. Maybe like they tried to invade Ukraine a couple years ago, maybe like a decade ago, because she said she was like 7 or 6 when this happened. I'm not sure. I
And
haven't.
now
done-
she is 15.
She's like 50. Yeah, she's like 15 or
So
16.
yeah.
So probably it did happen like years ago, but it wasn't a war. It was just like an attempt. But yeah, I haven't really looked it up. I should probably look it up later. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but we've always had wars. It's
Yeah.
just going on. It's just changing from one country to another country, right?
And in some countries we have the war all the time, like Palestine, I don't know, Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And since it is normal for everyone, there is no media about it. Like
Mhm.
people don't care about wars in Afghanistan, in Iraq, maybe in Palestine. It's normal.
Yeah, definitely.
But Ukraine and Russia, it was something new.
yeah.
So for what I think the war is not over, but it's not a trend news anymore, so no one talks about it.
Yeah, it was like super trendy in the beginning, remember? Everyone was so active on Twitter. And that is, well, that is it's something it's become now it's just so clear. Like maybe 5-6 years ago people would like make fun of it. Not the war, the fact that people try to act like they care. But now today, like we all know, everybody knows, people on especially Twitter and on other social media platforms, they just act mostly that they care, but essentially they just don't. I mean, fundamentally they don't, like and that's it's a very it's actually it's always it happens in every topic, like imagine you like fall, like you're walking in somewhere downtown, okay, and you like slip and you fall on your back, okay, and for like a slight second you feel embarrassed, right? You feel super embarrassed and you feel like the world is watching you, and like a couple people are watching you, 10, 15 people, 20 people, they see you, and they might even laugh. Some of them, they for some reason they might laugh at you. Not saying if it's wrong or right, but whatever. But so you, because it happened to you, you're gonna feel that they're gonna think about you for the rest of the day, but the actual fact is they're gonna forget after like 1 minute.
Actually, you forget too. Like after 5 or 10 minutes, you have more important problems, so you won't think about it.
You might, yeah. Well, I mean, there are some people, they're very insecure. They're super insecure.
Yeah.
We all have insecurities, and we're all very insecure, but some people, they're just really insecure, and they might continue thinking about it. But
For
actually,
hours.
yeah, definitely. Exactly. But actually, the reality is people are going to forget.
Yeah.
They're just going to forget.
Sure.
And
In 2 minutes.
Yeah, and in a larger scale, it's the same thing. It's just going to take maybe not 2 minutes, but maybe 1 week, maybe 5 days or 4 days. And yeah, but
Yeah,
I mean,
because everyone has enough problem to think,
Mhm.
so no one. Like, they may say that, oh my God, Ukrainian people, poor Ukrainian people, but after a while, you have to pay everything. You have to pay your bills, so you need to think about yourself. Like
Yeah.
it's a strategy of the world. You need to work so hard to pay everything. We are not living, we are just paying.
isn't it funny that most of our problems is just money?
Yeah, we created money and the problem is money.
Would the problem have been the same if we didn't have money? Like, would we still have the same problems if we didn't have money? If we were still trading, like I was giving you fish, and you'd give me like rice.
Can you?
I hate fish. I fucking hate fish. But would we have the same problems?
Yeah, I think. Like, it is not imaginable because we are living in another world with technology. So, like you and me are not able to do something, to make something, to produce something, to trade. So it would be a big problem for us.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
No, we can't fish. We can nothing.
Well, I mean, you would probably like write poems and stories for people in exchange for like
Okay,
meat.
imagine you have some meat or rice. Will you change the rice with poem? No.
Nah. Not really. Yeah. It's art. I mean, art. Art. Art just doesn't have a place in a society that in any society, I think, because society has very fundamental needs, right? Food is one of them. Shelter is another one, right? Food and shelter. Is there anything else?
These are the most important ones. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, if you notice, like, you never see a homeless guy come to. Well, usually, I mean, there are going to be exceptions at some point, but generally, you're never going to see a homeless guy, a homeless person, coming to a classical concert, for example,
Yeah.
right?
And also, they can't.
They
They can't afford the
exactly.
ticket.
Yeah, exactly. They can't. But even let's say it's free, like the classical concert, it's free.
Yep,
Okay,
but it's
they're still not going to come.
yeah.
Because they don't, that's not their needs. Like, they have fundamental needs. And yeah, I'm really liking how we're switching from subject to subject very quickly here right now. And that's I think this should be like, this is exactly what we need, because we're usually thinking, and we're very silent. I'm very silent, and I'm always thinking in my head. So this podcast is a good idea to think out loud, right?
Yeah, don't ask me about thinking and even overthinking. You know me.
Oh yeah. A couple days ago, I was watching this video. It was about whether you think in words or do you think in pictures. What are you thinking? Do you think in pictures or do you think in words when you think?
I think in words.
You think in words. Well,
Yeah, I told you like a couple of days ago that I have a fantasia, so I can't see pictures in my mind.
what is it called?
A fantasia.
A fantasia.
Mm-hmm. So I have to think in words.
Oh yeah, I remember. Right. Yeah, you did tell me about it. Well, I noticed. I usually. I'm sorry. I'm trying to lick my cigarette, my cigarette's paper, so I can stick it. Roll it. Yeah. So I realized that I was a lot of the times I was thinking too quickly because I was thinking in pictures. And I was thinking in pictures and I was visualizing things. So when I was visualizing things, unfortunately, I was visualizing the conclusion, the end, really quick, you know? And so I wouldn't think about the process, right? And I realized you really have to think about the words and you really have to think about the process, because when you do so, you find flaws in your thinking. You find problems and flaws in whatever you're thinking about. So what I started to do is now I just talk to myself. I talk out loud, you know? Like when I'm having these walks from work to home, or when I'm having walks from home to work, I think out loud and I talk to myself about these thoughts, and it becomes way more difficult for me.
And I talk to myself, what a wonderful world.
Yeah. And it's way more difficult. Well, at least for me it is. Because when it turns into words, you have to articulate things really well, and you have to be way more logical than pictures. You know, pictures, I feel they are less logical, or maybe less rational, I'm not sure. But words, they need to be very, very logical, or at least for me, they have to be very logical. I'm sure there are people who don't give a shit about what kind of words they think about, you know.
Even if they think about, like, most of the people don't think. That's a problem. And I have no idea about it because I've never been able to think about something by images. And I can't skip to conclusion because, for example, if I'm thinking about an apple, I have to read a whole page to see the conclusion. For me, it's like reading. While I'm thinking, I'm reading too. It's like a book.
Yeah.
So I have to finish the lines, the pages to understand, to reach the, like, the conclusion and ending part.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. Sorry, I can't help you.
Yeah. You want some wine?
Yeah, sure.
There you go. Beautiful sound.
Yeah.
Why did you want to have this podcast?
Because
Because you already have one
we
other
have
podcast?
I have started one podcast last week.
Just one
in,
podcast?
in Farsi.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's not important. I'm just trying to do something now these days in my life because you know that for like 25 years I had a mental disorder and I had no idea about it. So after figuring out the mental disorder, I started to knowing myself better, and I understood that why am I like perfectionist maybe. So now these days I'm just trying to do something in my life. I don't think about the end or the result or whatever. I'm just trying to do something, and this podcast is, I was listening to one of your songs
No.
and
Which one?
smoking becomes necessary when there is no lips to kiss.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah.
I was listening to it, and suddenly I came up with an idea that we can make this song to a podcast or a play or a theater. And it was good. And also the topic of the name, which is like loneliness, it's something that we need to talk about it. There's a problem in the world that we don't understand. We make friends, we find a partner, we try to put ourselves in a category or whatever. We are like scared of being alone maybe, or even if a person like me who is most of the time alone needs someone to share his or her ideas, to talk, to love and be loved also. So I thought maybe we can start something to share these kind of ideas, so maybe someone else needs to hear some ideas about this problem that I can say. So I'm not sure about the answer of your question, but I think we had to start it. Bu kadar.
Well, what do you think about this? I'm sure at some point in the future, I will tend to turn my thoughts and my, ideology about life into books. Maybe I will personally, and I'm sure you have the same idea too, I will try to maybe write novels, or maybe I'll try to write some books that I just explain and talk about how I think. But that's a long way. That's in the future. right now I have other things to focus on. But doing a podcast like this will be like a beginning stage, like a starter point for me to personally to share my thoughts and to hear myself out loud, to talk about some topics that I really like talking about, because I really enjoy talking about some, well, what I would like to call serious topics. Of course, I might actually have some reasons to call them, actually, not reason to not call them, but to point out that even these serious thoughts could be not serious at the same time, But anyway, let's not get into that yet. But I think it's a good way to start for me personally, to share my thoughts out loud, to hear myself out loud, and to grow in a different way, because at some point you have to start hearing and reading yourself if you want to be a prolific, productive person. And yeah, I think it's a good idea, to have this podcast. I really do enjoy it, and I think in the future, when we bring our friends and people we know, we're gonna keep talking about some serious topics, at least topics that we think are serious, right? Even if they aren't, even if you say nothing is serious in life, still there is something you call more serious than other things, right? And speaking of which, you said to love or to be loved. Well, we've picked like a couple questions that we're not so sure about yet. We might change them in the future, but one of the questions is actually that. We have, I think, one or two questions about love, but which we're going to ask everyone that we bring to the podcast in the future. But one of the questions is, do you prefer to love or to be loved? Or is it better to love or to be loved? What do you think?
I'm
the first one to ask it.
Okay. In my opinion, you need to learn how to love someone. And the best way to learn it is to be loved. So, for example, I understand love with my parents. Mm-hmm. They showed me the love. And then I was able to show the love to my sister, for example. And suddenly, I became a teacher. I started loving my students. And then I saw that because of that love, they were able to show the love to their classmates, to their families. So I think, to be loved is more important to love. And because you learn to love from to be loved. What do you think?
Well, I would say I prefer to love for a number of reasons. I do agree that when you... Well, wait. So you said it's better to be loved, right?
Mm-hmm.
I find...
I don't prefer to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
I think to be loved is more important to love. Yeah.
Right. Well... you know how complicated and complex human psychology is, and for each person it changes, right? And for me, that doesn't necessarily work, because ever since I was I don't know, like relatively a child, and I was younger, I never really liked to be loved too much. So I always preferred to love. And from loving, I did learn the same thing that you're saying. And so because I feel anytime I am loved, if it's slightly too much, I feel this massive, heavy burden on my back. And I don't like it. I don't like the burden on my back when I am loved, you know. That's why I prefer to love, and hence I prefer to suffer from that feeling. And when I suffer from that feeling, I learn things. And the other thing is, well, depending on the person that I love, if it's a person that I shouldn't love, or if it's a person that, well, I just should stay away from, after a while I learn it, right? So that's a good thing. I love that person. I get hurt, and so I learn that I should stay away from such a person, from people like this person, right? So that's some kind of experience that I get. And then, if not, I'm going to have this wonderful experience of suffering and pain and agony. And so this is going to help me. Usually it helps me in my art, which, well, again, hasn't helped me for the last 1 year. But generally, I feel more comfortable to love and to get hurt and to feel the pain and to suffer and to struggle than to be loved, because for some reason that is very uncomfortable for me when I am loved. And well, I taught just like you, but I learned it from a very different way. I realized I've had some classes, some students that I have loved very dearly and very just specially, right? And every time that class has ended, every time that class has come to an end, because of the love that I've had toward them, I realized, first of all, how beautiful love is and how painful it is to say goodbye to these wonderful people. And so it's taught me some wonderful things. The only difference is mine has been to love, yours has been to be loved. So, yeah.
Okay, first of all, pain keeps you going forward. So we need pain to understand. We need pain to learn. That is correct. But the problem is, people exaggerate showing their loves because they need an exaggerated love, maybe. So that's why maybe when you are loved, when you are loved, you don't feel good because maybe those people are exaggerating the love. Maybe that's the problem. The thing that you don't do also.
Well, I mean, you can't be sure that every single person that has loved me has exaggerated their love, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen all people who loved you. So,
I mean, don't you have the same? Didn't you have the same problem when you would feel distant and you would start to get drifted away from people who loved you a little bit too much?
I think it's normal for everyone. Like, if someone loves you a lot, it makes you uncomfortable. So it is normal.
Why does it make you uncomfortable?
Because you feel lots of pressure on your shoulders. You feel lots of responsibilities.
You feel like you have to love this person in the same way.
Yeah, but you can't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. surely it can't. I mean,
That's the reason I prefer to love someone who doesn't love me instead of being loved,
yeah,
and then vice versa.
but wait, you just said you prefer being loved in general.
Yes, in general. But this is a problem, you know? You love someone. For me, she doesn't love me. Or she loves me, but I don't love her. So I prefer to love someone who doesn't love me instead of being loved by the person that I don't like her.
But in general, you prefer to be loved.
I don't prefer to be loved. I think it is more important because it teaches me.
Okay. But of course, well,
Not
the topic of love and romanticism is different, right?
Yeah. And also, like, it is not about me. I prefer to see love, like, from other couples also. You know, I love analyzing people. So sometimes I go to some places that I don't like bars.
Yeah, sometimes.
Or other crowded places.
Once every 10 years.
Yeah. I go there, I just try to watch people and understand what are they doing, what is in their what is like this specific person's ideology, what does he or she is thinking about, and blah 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 blah. And yeah, it's same for also love, the topic of love. I prefer to see a couple who understand love instead of being loved or love someone. So I can understand something, I can learn something. I mean, this is one of the most important things in my life. I like to understand, I like to learn. So I can learn from that.
Yeah. Do you think you've understood what love is?
No, never. No, never ever. I can't.
Why not?
It is so difficult. Like, even I'm not sure if such a thing exists. I don't know if love is a real thing or it's just some hormones or, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure about the love. I'm not sure about the topic. So how can I be sure about something which is in the like other levels of love? So love, if the love is category, being loved or love someone is another topic. I'm not sure about the head.
Yeah.
It's been a while that I've been thinking about it. I can love whoever I want and no one can change it. I mean, it's been, now I'm 26, like I can say it's 8 years that I can choose the person that I want to love or not. So it happens when I was 18 that I loved someone. It doesn't matter, it like didn't matter what happened. I love that person. But now, in this era of my life, I can choose someone to love her. That's why I don't believe in love.
Does it only have to be her? I mean,
for me, yes.
Then you're talking about romanticism.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, romanticness. What is it? What's the noun for romanticness? Yeah, romanticness. Yeah. I see. Then we're talking about a much more serious type of love. We're not talking about general love. We're not talking about love toward friends and students and parents, right?
My family, my student, I love them. I love them. It doesn't matter what they do, what happens, what. I just love them. But there is just one topic here for me, a partner. So I don't understand the love for partners. For me, it seems unreal. So I can't understand it. It is super difficult for me. I mean, I can do whatever I want when I'm alone. I can manage my time, I can manage my mood, I can go forward, I can make plan, I can do something that all the people would say, you are an idiot. But in this topic, it's a 50-50 thing.
Yeah.
So we are talking about a topic that 50% of the topic is related to me, but the other 50% it relates to someone else.
Yeah.
That's why I can't control it. That's why I can't understand it.
I see. Yeah. Love, regarding like the love you find that is more than, well, it causes a question, like what is the difference between loving your students or your parents or your friends and loving a partner, a person who you would want to who you would want to continue your life with. What's the difference between that?
For my students, for my family, for my friends, I can make a border. There is a red line that they can't pass. But in my point of view, that we are talking about love and partner specifically, that person should be me. So there is no limit. So she can know everything about me. I can share everything about myself. And go on.
But why is there a border between those and the partner?
Because they are not in my life like 100%. So I can show those parts of my life that I want to show. But partnership is something else. You need to start a partnership with someone that you think, for me, she understands everything. She can understand whatever I say. She can understand. That's why I want to share my life with someone. To feel understood. But with friends, you don't have to. You have a friend, like you have a business partner, so you will share your business part. You have a friend that you hang out, so you will share your ideas, your life. For a coffee, it is limited. You're not going to
chess, for example. For me,
Yeah.
I have
You are
some
not-
friends. It's just chess, like Scott. Like
Yeah.
I have this friend, Scott.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Well, I have to say, like with Scott, recently, I personally had some deeper talks, and he turned into a much more precious friend. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I felt I had to say this.
Hey,
But-
Scott.
but yeah, I understand you. Like I understand what you're saying. Friends, like you have a friend. It's just for talking about books and writers and authors and whatever you want to call them. And then some friends, it's just for a cup of coffee and for some talk, some small talk, jokes, etc. But yeah.
Yeah, this is the point. You're a friend with your colleagues. You're a friend with your classmates. You're a friend with your family. You're a friend with your dots. But partner is different because you live with that person.
Is sex part of it? Is sex part of that difference? Does that matter?
No, I don't think so. Like I have like lots of girl
Friends
friends.
who are girls.
Yeah. But again, it's limited.
What is it in
I don't share
German
whatever
for?
I don't share whatever I have. I don't share my private life.
Yeah, I know, but like the partner you're talking about, is the sex part also important?
I don't think so. No, it's part of
But how is it not important?
like no. It is not important in this topic. Of course, it is important. Sex actually is one of the most important parts. Not the most important, but it is important in a partnership. But sharing your idea, limit, and blah blah, it is not related to sex.
Right.
Sex is something else. Like, for me, having sex with someone is when I trust that person. I love that person. So I don't want. I've never had one of sand lights. I don't want to have it, at least for now. Because I think sex shows the amount of love between two people. But now I'm talking about sharing yourself. It's like confessing. You're doing, you're saying, you're sharing whatever you've had experienced with that person. So it is not about sex. I don't talk while I'm having sex with someone.
What do you think about life?
Yeah.
Just feel your hand.
Imagine.
While it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I get what you're saying. Well, I would say sex could also be not important. Like you could turn sex into, and I prefer. Okay, I've learned to prefer to think of sex as a very, very important thing, because recently, maybe in the last 1 year, I have had some short relationships, and there was sex in none of them, and neither of them I felt any intimacy. Intimacy. Yeah, I felt no intimacy. And I'd prefer to not have that kind of sex ever. I'd prefer to just never feel cold when I'm having, sex with that person. So I think it's very beautiful to feel spiritually close and intimate when you're having sex. And I think it's very beautiful to think of sex in that way. And I agree with you. Yes, sex is a different topic from other things, and I think it shouldn't be the most important thing. Unfortunately, for some people, for me, maybe even a lot of people, sex is a very, very important thing.
It is important, but for some people, it is the most important part of the relationship.
Yeah. I that's definitely true, and I'm sad about this, to be honest, because I'm afraid, what if in the future you find this wonderful person and you feel so close to this person. Like I'm reading this book now by Sadek Hedayat, called Bufekur, and in this book he pictures this girl who is a mystery, by the way, whose name I you don't even know her name. Like I'm in the beginning of the book, maybe it's the 30th page or something, and he's been talking about this girl for maybe 25 pages, and he doesn't even say her name. That's how high this person is in his thoughts, right? And so why did I even say this? And okay, so this person is super important to the character, the male character in this book, and not even once have they, even though she comes to his house and she dies in his bed, which is surreal, because they didn't even meet, but she dies in his bed, and sex is never an important issue here. And I thought about it after reading this, and I realized, yes, that's exactly what I would personally want to pursue, what I would personally think about and care about. And every time I have fallen in love, which has been just maybe 1 or 2 times, I've never thought or cared about the sex part. Yeah. And but for a lot of people, that is a very important thing, and it's so imagine reading this book, but so for the male character, the sex part was just important. Like, he's like, well, she came to my house, she slept in my bed, and she died, and we didn't have sex, and I stopped loving her, and I stopped falling in love with her. And that's exactly what happens with a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
They don't continue their relationship because the sex is bad, which I don't like. I personally, it makes me feel sad. It shouldn't be the main issue.
Yeah, I think because this problem is because of their imaginations. They imagine the sex part of their relationship something different, but sex itself, it's not something different. You are the person who is going to make it different. The person who is having sex make the sex different. But sex is a normal thing. Okay, we have like 50 different positions, but it's sex.
Maybe more, 50, maybe
52. Okay.
I don't know.
But the way you feel the sex is important.
I mean, yeah. I think sex, for me personally, is one of the last important things. I feel actually like if you feel surreally, if that's a word, close to that person, and you love that person deeply in every possible way, the sex is going to be fantastic anyway. Even if it seems boring or dull or just one or two positions, even then, it's gonna be beautiful. It's going to be great. It doesn't matter.
That's the case. Like, if you have sex in just two different positions, it means that both of the people having the same idea about sex.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter. But when you compare your sex with like porn movies and other people and that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
When you love someone, it means that person is close to you, so you understand each other. So your sex goes in a way that both of you can enjoy it. It's satisfying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's even for. I basically, it's so unnecessarily stupid. Well, actually, necessarily stupid. It's just so, it seems so unnecessary, and it is so stupid to me, because when I think about this, a beautiful relationship, I want to talk with that person about the beautiful things in the world. I mean, yes, whatever, sex is part of it, but I want to talk about beautiful things. I want to talk about great writers, great musicians, great art. I want to talk about
Whatever you care about, yeah.
whatever I care about personally. That's the exciting part for me. I want to share every beautiful second that exists with that person. And yeah, sex is part of it, but it's not even close.
All of it, yeah.
It's just not even close to the most important part of it. So,
Yeah, just imagine a week, 7 days, 24 hours. Maybe you have sex for like, I don't know, 3 hours a week.
mm-hmm.
What about the other part of yeah? What the fuck
Are you
are
gonna
you
have
going
sex
to do?
for
Yeah,
one entire week nonstop?
you need someone to talk. You need someone to feel understood. You need someone to understand.
Well, don't forget, we have so many people who, unfortunately, their life is basically summarized in going to work, providing. It doesn't matter if they both work or if one of them works. It doesn't matter. Working, and then coming home, having some dinner,
Having sex,
having sex,
having children,
and maybe watching
and again the cycle.
watching one or two TV shows on
Yeah.
television. That's it.
Bullshit ones.
Well, they do have some vacations in the summer, but that's like
For
1 week.
sex.
For sex. Oh yeah, a lot of classic Iranian families.
I think it's third world countries, not just Iranian.
Mm-hmm.
because you have to do that. Like, you have to go to work. Like, first of all, you go to school, then you fuck yourself into the university, and then you study maybe hard for university, and then you finish your university, and after graduation, you will
start
find
a
it.
totally different job, not related
Exactly,
to
yeah. You
your
find a
field.
job, you just try to make some money, and then you marry. Even you have no idea about yourself, but you marry and you share your unknown life with someone else. The only part that's left is sex. So you will have sex, you will have children, then again you fuck yourself to make something for your children, and then you expect whatever you couldn't make it from your child.
Oh yeah, definitely. Anything that you never became, you want your children to. You want them to be great ballerinas, great musicians, great linguists, great football players,
Yeah, everything.
everything. Great
Everything.
swimmers, great gymnasts, basically, and the doctor, and the doctor.
Sometimes
in the end.
sometimes they expect their children to be doctor, lawyer, engineer at the same time in a life.
Yeah, they're like, well, dear, have art on the side, and then study engineering on Fridays and Thursdays, or Thursdays and Fridays, and then become a doctor. You can do all of them.
Yeah, you can if you want.
You want some, maybe. You want to go to the next question?
Yeah, sure.
Let's go to the next question. Man, we have a lot of questions. Does life well, you know what? You
Not for me. Not for me.
you read the next question.
Is it more important? Is it this one? No. Does life require a purpose and a goal?
Okay, are you asking me?
Yeah.
Well, this is obviously a very, very fundamentally deep, and very serious and not serious at the same time question. Why do I say not serious? Because if you notice, this has been a very important question in our lives in the past few years, in the past, well, many years maybe. But there are times when we forget this, right? We just forget this. When we're working, we forget this sometimes. When we're out with our friends, we forget this sometimes. But of course, it's a very important question, and I always try to think about it, and I try to relate things to it, not by force, but it just seems right to relate things to this. Life, I think, in the end, it requires some purpose, because if it doesn't have... So, before I complete my sentence, I think this is very... This school of thought is very right, that there is no purpose in life, but you can create your own purpose. I very much so agree with this, and I don't just agree with this because some people have said this, but I've thought about it, I've given it thought, and I think it seems very right, because I feel if you, for even a short amount of time, believe that there is no purpose in life and you don't give it any purpose, you are ready to die. I mean, you're ready to kill yourself. You're ready to commit suicide. You're ready to destroy your life, and then it causes you to commit suicide. You're ready to not care about anything, and then it ends in probably killing yourself. So I open my eyes. I realize that I believe that there is no purpose in life, but I give purpose in my life personally by caring about most of my students. Well, let's say 99% of them, by by caring about music, deciding to care about music, deciding to care about students, deciding to care about some books that I maybe haven't read, or deciding to learn a new language, deciding to make some nice dinner, and smaller things. So I think I'm giving purpose to my life, and it's needed. It's important, because if I reach this point where I understand, I realize I can't give any more purpose to my life, I'm gonna stop it. I'm gonna stop my life. Because there's no reason to go on. There's no reason for me to continue working, right? And work is it's a very, very substantial, it's a very, very important, essential part of our lives. It connects most of what we do to it. So suddenly one day I'm going to decide, why do I work? And then I'm not going to work anymore, or I'm going to work very poorly, and so I'm going to get fired, and I'm going to feel even worse after that. And so I'm not going to meet my friends anymore. And so I'm not going to make any more music anymore. I'm not going to practice anymore. I'm not going to read anymore. I'm not going to learn another language anymore. And then I just can't continue. There's no reason to continue. There's no reason to do this podcast. There's no reason to stay awake. I can sleep as much as I can, and then one day I'm going to kill myself. So I think it's necessary and it's important to find meaning in life. Of course, we automatically find that meaning in our lives, usually. But of course, there's a difference, I think, between people who don't know that there is a meaning or there are meanings, different types of meanings in their life, and people who acknowledge that there isn't meaning, but they are giving meaning to their life. I think there's a very big difference, and I think I'm part of the second type, the latter. I'm the type that knows there is no meaning to life, but I give meaning to my life. And it has different reasons, of course, why I decide to give meaning to my life. But, yeah. What do you think?
I want to make it clear. I think no meaning is required for life, but whatever you do is a goal. Like, for example, if I say my life is based on learning, then learning is my goal. If I say I want to enjoy my life, if I say that I'm here for a while, for like 60 years, let's say 30 years, whatever, if I say I want to enjoy my life, then enjoying is a goal. But there is no meaning is required for life. So it's a difference here in my answers. I think meaning is not necessary, but whatever you do is a goal.
Would you continue living if you didn't have meaning in your life?
No, I don't need meaning in my life. I'm just trying to do whatever I think makes me not happy.
But isn't that giving meaning in your life?
Like, it's a deep philosophical question. What is the meaning of the life?
Yeah.
I have no answer for it, and I don't want an answer. I don't care if there is another word after death or not.
Yeah, but you're giving meaning to your life.
I'm just trying to use and enjoy my time, but there is no meaning in it.
Of course.
What is the meaning of life for you now that you are leaving?
No, nothing. Yeah,
That's the point.
There's no meaning. But
That's the point.
I try to give meaning to it, either consciously or subconsciously. I practice piano. Maybe I do
Okay, it's a goal, but there is no meaning required again.
But it gives meaning to my life, right? Because it sets a goal, so it gives meaning.
No, for me, having goal and finding a meaning are two different topics. I don't need meaning, but for sure I have a goal, enjoying my time, for example. Uh, I found butterfly effect for a while. It's like 4 years, I think. I had no idea about it before that, unfortunately. After that, I've been thinking about butterfly effect. I told you, for example, every day while I'm walking to office, I try to guess different kind of actions, reactions, predict the future, blah blah blah. For example, if I let a car pass, or if the car lets me pass, it will change the future, everything will be different, and blah 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 blah. And then while I was thinking about this ideology, I came up with an idea. For example, I have parents, father and mother. Both of them have father and mother, and then go on, and then continue for like 100 years or 1,000 years or whatever. We will have like at least 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, million people. Okay? And just imagine one man asks a girl to marry him, and the girl says no. And then after 1,000 years, I don't exist. So I have this miracle. I don't care if there is meaning. I don't care if there is something before I was born. I don't think if there is something after I die. I just have a really short time to enjoy my time. And I don't care what happens. I don't care what is the meaning. I don't care about the prophets. I don't care about the holy books. I don't give a shit to them. I just want to do whatever I want. For example, if I like horse riding, I want to do it, even if I haven't been able to do it for 26 years. I want to make my theater. I want to just open the microphone and talk. I don't care if someone is going to listen to it or not.
I always like to point out to this fact that for some weird reason in American English they say horseback riding. It's like there are two types, as if there are like one type is like they ride the back of the horse, and then the other type is like they ride from the balls of the horse while they're swinging from there. Anyway, but that's a different, like caring and not caring is a different thing, of course. And I think most of us, either on purpose, deliberately, or not, we don't care about the meaning or meanings of life. But still, of course, I think essentially we give meaning even if we don't care. We're giving meaning to our life when we decide that today I'm going to go to the office, or today I'm going to practice sitar, or today I'm going to meet my friends at a cafe.
Okay, for me, it is goal. It is not meaning.
You just basically, you don't care about it. I think that's the thing. You just don't care about it. But does it exist or not? I think it exists. I think you are giving meaning to your life. You just don't care about it.
We are not sure that if we exist.
Oh, that's a different topic.
So we can't talk about something that is related to us, and we are not sure about ourselves.
How much do you believe in? Well, I'm sure you don't believe in it, but how much do you think how likely is it that this is a
Simulation?
Simulation? Yeah.
Actually, I don't care. I'm enjoying my time by drinking coffee, by reading book, by watching movie, by listening to my favorite music, by whatever. If it is a simulation,
so be it.
Again, let it be.
Yeah. Nächste Frage.
Yeah, sure.
Should I ask this one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Oh, well, this is kind of it's actually something we talked about last night. What is the first ever problem you can recall?
I think I was 12,
Mm.
and it was the end of the season of the school, and I wasn't sure if I can pass all the subjects or not. And then I went to school with my mother, and I saw one of my classmates. He was so happy. The average was 20 out of 20 for him. And I asked him, do you have any idea about my results? Have I passed all the subjects? And he said, yeah, I think so. And I was like, yes! I was shouting in the yard and blah, blah. I think this is the first problem that I thought about it for a week, or like maybe more, for 2 or 3 weeks after the last exam, till I saw the results, because I was so nervous about it. Unfortunately, I passed all my subjects. You know, we have a special kind of passing the exams in year one. Like, for example, maybe you fail in one of the exams, so you have something like Tekmode or something, so you can pass the exam. But
even if you don't pass because it's one lesson,
yeah, they will let
you're
you
allowed
pass.
to
Yeah.
pass. Yeah.
And it's a shame for me that I've never used those kind of things.
I use it actually. I used it in my last year because I was so sure that I'm gonna study fine arts that I didn't care about. Well, I was studying experimental science, so I didn't care about it because I knew I was gonna study fine arts. So I stopped studying those books and those lessons and stuff, and I think in the end I had to pass. I had to use that privilege for biology, and I passed through that. But yeah, for me it was. I think I was in first year of high school, and my grandmother on my father's side had finally passed away because she was ill for a while, for a couple months, and خدا رفت کن شما رو and then as tradition, my whole family, decided to, like, I say my whole family, my mother and my father and my brother, like, they decided to go to Isfahan, which is my hometown where I was born, but never lived in, well, except 2 years. But they wanted to take me by force, and I was like, no, I don't want to come, because I started thinking about this, and it turned into a problem for me because I didn't understand people going to funerals. Funerals was one of the first problems that I couldn't understand, because that person is dead now. And I understand if you would say, well, it's for honoring that person, it's for showing the people alive how precious, how important, how honorful that, if that's a word, how honorful that person who used to be alive was or is to show how great that person was or whatever. I understand if you say that, but I don't strongly agree with that, because I think it doesn't matter. If the person is dead, that person is dead. I should have shown my respect, my love, and my care to that person when that person was alive. That mattered to me, If that person is dead now, it doesn't matter. I'm just doing it for opticals. I'm just doing it for essentially showing off. It's not the type of showing off you might think, like driving in a Lamborghini and showing off. No, but it's showing off because you're showing it to the people alive. The person who is dead and is not seeing that. And of course, if you're a religious person, you're not going to agree with this. You're going to think in a different way. But, well, I'm not a religious person, so I don't think about it in that way. And so that always was a problem. And it was hard for me to completely agree with myself. And I remember having that. Even when my parents decided to go without me, finally I managed to persuade them to leave without me. Even then I had doubts, like, did I do the right thing? Is this the right decision? But then I start to agree with myself, essentially, and I start to realize I think that was the right decision, because my grandmother was dead and she just wouldn't see me anymore. And I wish I had shown my respect and love maybe more when she was alive. But, well, I was a kid. So, yeah.
Yeah, this is a part that I'm proud of myself. When I love someone, I show it to that person. So, I can say I love you easily. I don't care if that person understands that I love him or her or not. I say I love you. I can remember the time that my grandfather died. People used to say that, oh my God, God bless him, he was a good man and blah blah. And I used to say that, fuck off. It is not your responsibility, your duty to show that he was a good man, or he was a good father, good grandfather, whatever. And for a while, like for 6 months, first of all, I did whatever I could for my grandfather, for funeral and blah blah.
You were there.
Yeah, I was there, and he died in Tehran. And then we sent the corpse to north of Iran, to Rasht, and everything happened there. And I did the best I could. But after 6 months, I started to understand what happened, exactly what had happened.
What do you mean?
Like the first days, the first month, I couldn't believe that, okay, I lost my grandfather. So I never cried. And he was super important for me, because we lived with my grandparents for 6 years. Since I was born till I was 6 years, and then we moved to another place. But for 6 years, I lived with them, and my grandfather helped me to understand, to experience the life. Like, for example, I can remember the first time that I played PlayStation. He sent me somewhere, he gave me some money, and he told me, go there, give the money to that person, and tell him that you want to play that game. I can't remember the game. And I went there. And for example, I experienced my first dombala with my grandfather.
Wait, Dumbalan? Like,
Yeah.
Dumbalan?
So yeah, I experienced lots of important, like I started experiencing life by my grandfather.
Yeah.
He showed me the way. Like, for example, I can remember that his business was making sandwiches, and it wasn't like fast food in that time, like 20 something years ago. But he had a place. He used to make sandwiches for students, for people. And he added one refrigerator just for ice cream for his grandchildren.
Yeah.
So yeah, he had done lots of things.
Yeah.
So I experienced some of my important, experiences with him.
Yeah.
He made them. He created them.
Yeah.
And when he died, people showed up and said, God bless him. He was a good person. And I said, it's none of your business. The last time that you saw him, it was like years ago.
Exactly. That's
How
another
can
thing.
you talk about a person that you never cared about?
Yeah,
So now shut up. What are you even here? So yeah, I can remember that I had problems with my uncles, with my mother, with my father, and everyone, because they used to say that, oh my God, God bless him.
Yeah.
And I said, shut up.
Yeah.
Please shut up.
Oh,
So yeah,
exactly.
but I can remember before his death, he was ill. He had some problems because of his age. So I can remember a day, for example. Uh, I was a student in university, so I didn't go to my classes because I wanted to go to a park and just walk with him. So I did it. I showed the respect. I showed the love to my grandfather. So yeah, that's why I'm proud of myself. And now it's been like 5 or 6 years that I haven't seen my other grandparents, the father and mother of my mother, and also mother of my father. But I know that I showed the love, I showed the respect. So even if I'm not able to go to my country again, even if maybe I can't see them again,
Yeah.
I don't regret it because I did whatever I could. Even now, sometimes I call them, I talk to them, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Definitely.
So the point is, you need to use your time with those people that you love instead of crying after their death.
After they die. Yeah, definitely. And actually, if you know, it's one of those things. It's a philosophy that I've been thinking about for the last maybe 2 years. So there are so many things that we do without thinking about them. We just do them, you know. Like an example I always give is ties. What the fuck are ties? Why do ties change who we are, how we look? As the moment you see a guy with a tie, you're like, oh, important person, because he has a tie. And nobody thinks about it, nobody asks about it, nobody cares about it. And it's the same thing about these funerals. A lot of people, they just go to funerals for no reason. They don't think about it, you know? They don't think if they should actually go, if they actually have a good reason to go there or not. They just say, yeah, well, honoring that person. Well, what do you mean by honoring that person exactly? If it's honoring that person, why didn't you honor that person when that person was alive? Why didn't you show whatever honor is, even? And I don't really agree much about honor anyway, but what even was that honor? So, next question.
Yep.
You go.
Fuck. What is the meaning of true love? What the fuck? What is the meaning of the love and then true love?
But we talked about love a little bit.
Let's skip it. Let's go to the next question.
Yeah.
What's more important, doing the right thing or doing things right? Yeah.
Well, the right thing always changes based on what timeline you are in.
And also geography.
And geography.
The culture.
Yes. And geography and the culture you are in. So I just write off disagree and don't care about that. There's no such thing as the right thing. Of course, you know, you would say maybe, well, not killing a person is the right thing. Yes, of course. Well done. Wow, you're very smart.
But even in some cases it is true to do it.
But so obvious things, of course, I'm not gonna care and talk about those obvious things, but I think it's more about doing things right. Doing the right things. Look, I feel you just need a very, very clear amount of IQ and a clear amount of thinking to understand what is right and what is wrong fundamentally, generally, essentially, you know what I mean? As I gave the example, you know, not becoming a serial killer suddenly, right? But doing things right is important. If you, well, we teach, and so you want to teach right. You want to teach right. Not because you want to. Sure, you also want to keep your job. You want to, well, continue making money, and you want to not be jobless, right? But you also want to teach right. I mean, those people are spending money.
But I think we've never done it. We've never changed our ideology because something was like against our ideology. I mean, I can't remember for myself at least. I've done whatever I thought it was correct, it was right. So, like, for example, we are living here in Turkey now. I can remember a lot that people told me, don't hug students. And I said, what the fuck?
What?
Yeah.
Don't hug students?
Yeah, exactly. But I kept doing it because I don't care. Because
Yeah.
I don't want to fuck the students. I hug the students because maybe they need it.
Yeah.
Because I love them. And I've never done it with bad purposes. Yeah. So what the fuck? I don't care. Even if for my job I don't care. I will keep doing whatever I think is right.
Yeah. Yeah. But of course, you're also doing whatever you okay, so knowing what is right and what is wrong, to some extent, it is just very clear. After that, it becomes an argument, right? For instance, is it right to judge yourself, to care too much, to be a perfectionist when you're writing, I don't know, a novel or making music? Or should you not judge yourself and should you not care? That's a different thing, right? Those are a bit more, those are extra steps, I would call them.
And also, I think it is about your preference.
Yeah, exactly. But then some things are clear, right? Some things are morals, they're moralities, and they're very clear moralities. I really don't think we need any sort of religious book to teach us that, or any teacher to teach us that, any school to teach us that. I think those are some things that you can easily learn because honestly, I just never learned them from anyone. I just learned them by myself, and they're so clear. I didn't even break a sweat or whatever you call it. I didn't even sweat a bit on it. It's just clear things. So I think more importantly, it's like try to care to do whatever you do rightfully, right? Right. Try to do it right. But also then, what is doing something right? Huh? I think, again, there we have a problem because, as you said, we don't care what we do is right or wrong. Well, again, some things are obvious that they're right or wrong.
We have something in Turkish.
What?
Kime göre, neye göre.
Yes.
So, who is talking about that ideology?
Yes. It changes.
Yeah.
It changes. And we don't care. We don't care if most people think it's right or wrong. For example, if it's music, if it's writing, if it's, I don't know, whatever. We don't care if it's right or wrong. We do it however, in whatever way we think is right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very subjective, I think. It's a very, very subjective thing.
And also, as far as I can remember, we called the people who broke the frames heroes, artists, philosophers, influencers, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So
you're reading Sadık Hidayat now, and he has got a famous sentence. He says, do like if all the people are going to a way, for sure 100% choose the other way, because people just are used to copying other people's behavior.
Oh, that's one of the main things that I always talk about and think about. People copy paste. They're copy machines, most people, not all people, but a lot of people, unfortunately. And I used to be, until I was 15 or 16. I was a copy machine. I was copying things too because I didn't know. And then I realized I have to stop. I have to be myself. And, well, if it puts you in trouble, if it puts you into trouble, if it puts you into jail, then you know you've done it wrong. Well, even then, there are problems, of course.
Like,
yes.
Wow, we have millions of people. They died but they were right.
But they were right.
Yeah.
They were right. They were right. So many subjects, politically and non-political, definitely. It's a very, it's at the same time, it's a very easy subject, but it's also unbelievably difficult
and
subject.
also annoying. Like, you can't believe it that people are so stupid that they don't think even for a second in their lives. Next question.
Fuckers. Yeah.
Fuckers.
I think the answer to this question is very obvious, but it's also very difficult for people who don't think for themselves. If you think for yourself, if you think for yourself independent from any sort of religion, independent from any leader, any exact school of thought, you would feel the correct answer easily, or relatively easily. Is there such a thing as freedom?
Wow. I have no idea.
There isn't.
Surprise, motherfucker. I have no idea. Wow.
There isn't.
I think it has some limitations. So we can say yes, we can say no. And I think we have to delete this question for our guests.
Why?
It's not a good question.
Why?
Because, first of all, what is the meaning of freedom? And how can you define it? In which country, which school, which philosophical ideas, which what?
Exactly. That's why I think there is no such freedom. There is no such thing as freedom. Well, okay. Let's say we can define freedom.
I think for me, freedom exists as far as you don't hurt another person.
But I have a question. So, what about
a person who is not a good person and you have to hurt him or her?
No, that's a different thing. That's also true, actually. But what about the fact that you are tied to living in a system where you have to make money? That's not something that you didn't choose this. I didn't choose this. We didn't choose
you
this.
You can change it.
How can you change this?
Now what is the problem? Make a story.
But
like, who is tied to a job that can't leave it?
No, but you have to have a job. It doesn't matter whatever the job is. You have to have the job.
But you can have a job and enjoy it, and it will be
you
your
can enjoy
hobby.
it. But still, you need to have the job, even if you love it. You need to have it. The money part.
Okay, but you need to do something in your life.
Yeah, but you don't need. You shouldn't have to. You should not have to make money so you have shelter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the problem. That's why I think there is no complete freedom. That's the part where I think we are not free. Because
and it is not just money. We have other frames too.
Like what?
Or like, for example, holy books.
What do you mean?
Like, we don't believe in them, but people make their daily routines according to Bible, according to Quran. So money is for everyone, we can say, but also we have under level of these things.
Oh, if you live under the influence of a holy book, then in a millisecond you have to say there is no freedom.
Yeah.
But if you don't, still there is no freedom, but you have to think about it for like 10 seconds.
But I don't think that it's... Maybe we have a rich person, let's say Elon Musk. Again, he's not free to do whatever he wants.
True.
Because now he's famous,
Because of
and
his
he
job.
needs to take care of everything, think about everything.
True.
Everything.
He's not
So
free.
yeah,
He's not free.
There's no such a thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agreed.
You know, like, look, I want to, right, tomorrow, exactly tomorrow, I want to live in a village, okay? And I want to live without a job freely. I want to just focus on what I love, which is music, right? Even so the problem is I can't because of money, right? Because of job.
Not money. Maybe if you live in a village, then maybe you can have your farm. Maybe you can have your animals.
So
then
okay,
you need
that's the
to
other
spend
thing.
your time.
So that's the other thing.
So
Even
then,
if it's not job or money,
so then
there's something
probably
else. There's something.
Now we have a problem with definition of the freedom. So you need to make food for you. Like imagine there is no money, and you are living in a village in like somewhere out of this world, in an island or whatever. Again, you need to protect yourself. You need to
The most
make
fundamental
food
need.
and,
Exactly. Yeah.
Again,
I
you're
mean,
not free.
That's, you went a little bit fast. Yeah, I wanted to build up. Exactly. That's the thing. Even if there is no fucking need except food and air, again, that's what stops your freedom.
And I think this is our problem.
What?
Most of the people don't think that making music, making theater, writing book is more important than food. Like maybe 1% of the humanity think like that. I'm not sure, but I think other people don't have this problem as we do.
Yeah.
Like for example, for you and I, eating, sleeping is so meaningless. So we prefer not to sleep so we can do something that we like.
Yeah.
Because we don't like sleeping, but people keen on sleeping, keen on eating, keen on, I don't know, whatever, doing parties and blah blah.
Yeah. Definitely.
So this is our problem. So freedom doesn't exist for you and I.
Yeah, probably. Last question.
Last question.
I don't know if it's actually the last question or not, but I just want to go with the last question. I'm a little bit tired now.
Who would you be in parallel universe?
Mm.
Which one?
Which parallel
Which?
universe, right? Is it universe 3663 C HOFFC, or is it 6? Which, well, I would have to say that now that I already think so meaningless of life already, right? And there's a tiny line between what keeps me hopeful and alive and what might not, right? So if I believed completely that there are parallel universes, I would probably not have any hope or have any will in being alive. But the idea and the thought of it is beautiful to
Why not? I didn't understand. What is the problem with its ideology?
well, then then I don't care about being in this universe. I'm gonna just, not be in this universe because I don't like this life. And then, I'll just be like, well, there's another Sam in another universe. He's gonna live a better life. I don't care about this one. Let's just end this Sam in this universe, in this world here.
It doesn't change anything. Whatever you do, whatever you call, whatever you make,
Well,
as a decision, the other universe will do something different.
true, but there is this secret fear of preciousness, like when you think of life as just one universe, one world, one Earth, one Sam. Secretly, sometimes, maybe once every 5 years, you're gonna think, well, life is precious, even if it's ugly, even if it's very hurtful.
I don't have it.
You don't have that?
No.
Oh,
Whenever I make a decision, for a while I just think, what will the other person of me does in another universe, and it's so motivational for me.
yeah, but it's hard to believe that there actually are other Sams, other Amirs.
I hope
Yeah, but hoping
there are ones.
I hope too, but if I believe that there are other ones, I'm definitely not going to be alive in this one. I don't want to be alive in this one.
No, because for me, I see the parallel universe as an opportunity, for example. So, for example, in this world, I'm living this life that but in another one, I'm living in another country. Another version of me has traveled all the world. Another version of me is a painter. Another version of me is a soccer player. Another version of me, and it is so fucking good.
It's good.
So, like, I think when I die, I will see other people, other versions of me, so I can understand what would happen if I decided in another way, if I decided to do something else. So for me, it's so motivational. So I do something, so later on after my death, I can see the other versions of that decision, and it's so fucking motivational for me. I love it.
But that's his dreaming, right? It's
Yeah,
not
exactly.
believing, right? And I understand the concept of dreaming, and I always love the concept of dreaming. Well, not always, but a lot of the times. The problem is in the past year I haven't been able to dream in that sense, Maybe in the future I can dream like that, and it's beautiful. But believing it is a different thing. Believing it would be dangerous.
Okay, is there anything that you believe in?
No.
Done. Fertig.
So who would Sam be in one of the other parallel universes?
I've answered already.
You answered. Yeah, you gave a couple answers. Probably the closest one would be a psychologist. Because I always loved psychology. I remember reading university psychology books when I was in middle school. I had this friend whose sister was a psychology student. She had just finished her first couple of years in university, and so she had some of these books that she had finished. And I borrowed them and I read them, and I didn't understand maybe 70% of them, but I still read every single line of those books with passion and with excitement and love, and I believed that I understood every line of it, even though I didn't. So probably in a parallel universe, I'm a psychologist who believed that he could be a musician in another parallel universe. Probably. And also, maybe I never taught English. Maybe I was a university student, and that's it. I was just a student. Like right now, I'd be like a master's student in psychology, and I was waiting for the last few years of my PhD to end so I could start working as a psychologist. And my problem was that, well, when the fuck is this gonna end so I can become a professional psychologist? And I hated most psychologists, and I disagreed with Freud, and I hated Carl Jung, if I remember his name correctly, stuff like that. But yeah, psychology, I think. What about you? Something specific?
I've been doing whatever I liked in my life. So, like, I like photography, I like theater, I like writing, I like engineering, I like medicine, so I've done all of it. I like soccer, so I am a soccer referee. I don't know. I really like to see the other universes. But
I mean, you could have been a professional soccer player, or you could have been just a professional photographer working in a photography
that's a problem.
agency.
I don't see it in myself picking one thing and doing it. Like, as far as I remember, as far as my mother told me, even if I was 3 or 4, I used to do different things. I used to spend my time for myself. Like the same character that I have this age, I had it when I was a child. So I don't know. When I die, I will tell you the other universes. What happened there.
Fair enough. That's it. That's the first.
4 hours, right?
Seriously?
I don't know.
How long
1.5.
Yeah, something like that. Not bad for a start.
Okay.
Next time we'll have someone with us.
Yep.
Should we say who that is, or should we keep that as a mystery?
Let's surprise everyone on ourselves.
Let's surprise ourselves. I have no idea who the person is going to be. Good talking to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday every episode. And see you in 2 seconds when I take my headphones off.
Oh, okay. Happy birthday to you all.
Yeah.
And good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.